There are a lot of incredible videos detailing how fascinating projectiles can be in fighting games, but when I watch them, I can't help but feel slightly deflated by the omission of what I think is Street Fighter's most unique fireball, Rose's Soul Spark. On the surface, her Alpha 2 fireball looks pretty run-of-the-mill. Done by inputting half circle forward and pressing punch, this slow startup projectile won't win the war when chucking plasma, but it certainly helps when used in tandem with her reflex. The interest, surprisingly, is found when it's done up close. This is the heavy version, and as you can see, it moves the opponent to the middle of the screen. This isn't just on hit, however, it's on block, and it's often even on whiff. Although it looks like some weird oversight in the world of push block, it is in fact nothing of the sort. When we load up the hitboxes, we can see a collision box is next to the fireball, pushing the opponent away. Just in case you don't know, a collision box is typically only ever seen over the players themselves. They are simply there to stop characters from passing through one another, but outside of this, they are ultimately uninteractable. As a consequence, this move has some very obvious utility. At the end of a block string, we can throw it out to reset our opponents back to neutral, which is a great option, especially in some matchups where keep away is key. Sure, you can counter it with a high level custom combo or maybe super, but that's a very big and very risky read. Where this move starts to shine uniquely is defensively. Similar to a normal fireball, we can use it up close versus opponents approaching to stop them in their tracks, with the added benefit here of us pushing them far away. It also avoids a lot of situations where if we were using any other projectile, the opponent could trade with us using long range pokes during our active frames. Soul Spark, however, will make the move whiff, and we still hit them, so that's pretty good. It also counters a lot of tools that are purposely built to beat fireballs. The hitbox on this attack is comparatively high, making it useful for stopping Tatsus, which is some of this game's best meterless specials to win the zoning game. On top of that, it also beats slides used to low profile projectiles because the collision box is actually very low and will push the opponent back onto the fireball once they've recovered. Even things like frame traps or longer range tick throws can be thrown off course by this fantastic move, and that does tons for our options when we're cornered. Alpha counter, jump, sweep and walk forward are all tools everyone has access to, but if we throw in there a projectile that immediately gets them off you when they start to sit and react to you, what we're left with is a character who can destroy an aggressive opponent's mental stack. Hilariously, it even works when they're cornered, pushing you further away than it should, which actually has its purposes for positional play. Don't get me wrong, this move isn't overpowered or anything. Its slow startup and forward hurtbox makes it pretty vulnerable. It's just unique. I've never seen a projectile in Street Fighter possess a moving collision box like this before. It creates very strange interactions and as a consequence has advantages no other projectile really has. It's also clearly intentional too because we can find the exact same properties on the Alpha 3 version. When I say it's not overpowered, I really do mean it, but it is broken. Broken in a technical sense. There is one glitch associated with this attack and one, let's say, oversight too, and we'll start with that. When you absorb projectiles with the light version of Soul's Reflect, her next Soul Spark will do more damage, stun, and chip, capping out at 7 absorbs. This should only work on your next fireball. However, custom combo breaks this rule. When activated, every single Soul Spark will have the damage buff, and this can lead to 100% combos. It's hugely impractical because realistically, who's letting you absorb 7 fireballs, but still, it's not impossible. On the other side of this coin, however, we have what's called the Soul Illusion Damage Boost, and it's a rather strange glitch. To activate it, you need to go into Custom Combo, do 2 Soul Sparks, and nothing else. It doesn't even need to hit or be blocked. It's not a hard task when you've got 1 level of meter, as the custom combo runs out very quickly. If you're at level 3, however, I wouldn't recommend this setup because during CC you can't block, and if you're only limited to doing 2 fireballs for the whole duration, you're kinda screwed as the length of the activation scales with meter. Once performed, Rose is in a glitch state for the rest of the round, and in this state, her Soul Illusion super has extended juggle properties. Normally the opponent is unhittable here after the reflect, but when we're glitched, we're able to hit them infinitely until the super wears out. It's actually a really cool glitch that gives her access to some touch of deaths and interesting conversions, but realistically, it's pretty impractical. For one, you're spending all your bar simply to get into this state, so you'll need to build more meter for the Soul Illusion super, which is already a pretty big ask, especially if you're committing meter to a setup rather than, I don't know, the best alpha counter in the game, or maybe even the best super in the game. 2. The benefits of the extra juggles are only seen on hit, not just any hit, but a reflect, which is really difficult to land compared to just about every other attack. And 3, you can kind of just do a heavy soul spiral, which is more practical, requires no setup, and gives you ridiculous damage, plus insane chip, and can even beat some alpha counters. The most practical use is probably air to airs or anti-airs. In certain situations we can restand them, leading to big damage, and against characters with bigger jump arcs we can do it on reaction. So although it might not be something you see done most games, the 1 in 1,000 times it does happen, it's gonna be sick. For me, this is without a doubt Street Fighter's most unique fireball. Half intentionally and half accidentally, just the way we like it. It's funny how unique moves can be when companies are willing to try something a bit different, and as a consequence, it's really fun to explore. Rose in this game has a lot of very particular tools and glitches, some of which I've already covered here, but honestly we're only about halfway through the list. So look forward to more Alpha 2 soon.